Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skill and grow as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is mobile test automation right before your eyes. And this is an initiative of Cigniiti Technologies. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guests from Cigniiti. Over to you, Mr. Sairam and Mr. Kote.
Good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible, guys? Very good afternoon to all of you. This is Sairam and Kote on behalf of Cigniiti Technologies. So I have the pleasure of having Kote along with me. Kote works as our Senior Delivery Manager at Cigniiti. With more than 12 years of experience, Kote has been driving some of very complex automation engagements for our leading clientele, particularly in the area of mobile test automation. Kote comes from a very strong experience of looking at automation solutions from web, client-server, desktop to all the way to today's mobile solutions. A little bit about Cigniiti. We are the world's third largest independent testing services company, globally headquartered in Texas, and with more than 800 plus people. Our global test delivery center is based out of Hyderabad, and we are a public listed company. Today we serve a global clientele across technologies and verticals. With software quality being the most important thing for modern day enterprises and independent software vendors, we bring a fanatic approach to ensure software quality. With that said, I'm going to hand this over to Kote. And today's automation on mobile test automation right before your eyes, it's a very exciting piece of topic, I must say, for all of us. And let us see what Kote has to offer. Thanks for being with us, and I hope this session is going to be extremely fruitful for both of us. Thank you so much. Kote?
Thanks, Sai. Thanks for the introduction. Hi all, good afternoon. So today we would be basically discussing about mobile test automation, and here mobile test automation is how we would do the mobile test automation in the right way. So to do it in the right way, how would we build a framework which would be mostly a device agnostic, why we would need a device agnostic framework, and how we would build it is the basic agenda for this session. And along with that, we would see like different types of applications that can be built on mobile, and different types of mobile automation solutions that are available for us, and the tools that are available in the market supporting these solutions. That would be broadly our agenda for today. So if you see, the benefits of the session is, as I said, we would basically focusing on why would need a device agnostic test automation framework, and how we would be building a device agnostic mobile test automation framework, and we would see some demonstration of our one of our sample automation script on a mobile app that has been developed for this session. So before getting into the actual technical details, if you could see the current scenario of the mobile market. Heater operating system is 200%, more than 200% annual growth, and it's followed by iOS. And if we could see from a manufacturer's perspective, like we have a number of manufacturers, and obviously Samsung being mostly into Android, it's growing at an annual growth of 300+%. So see, basically if you see the different the types of devices and the types of operating systems and versions of it coming onto market, so how complex would it be to automate all these combinations and make sure that you have your automated script once created and getting it executed on multiple devices and multiple platforms. That's basically what the challenge of this growing market tells us. So basically, why do we need a automation framework, which should be basically a device agnostic, tool agnostic, and it should be like you write it once, but should be able to play it on any n number of devices that you wanted to be part of your testing. So while you read the slide, if I could recollect, recently we had one of our customers release on mobile automation, mobile testing. So we have a customer who is into mobile security solutions. They are a leading mobile security solutions provider in the US. So their release is coming into the market, which is basically having features which will allow you to control your mobile devices, basically to control children. You can it has features to control different types of apps that can be installed on a mobile, different how you would use your applications, how you would use your what kind of apps you can use, what kind of websites you can browse. It can have features something like a geofencing, where it's like if you define a range and if your child is out of that range, immediately you would get a message to your one of your defined mobile numbers saying like this child is out of this geofence. So all these features packaged, and the release is just like we had 1 month of time to execute the tests, and we had around 40 plus device combinations and operating system combinations which we had to execute. So that's where the challenge was. So then we thought of like we cannot go and automate on each and every device. So there should be something, a way where we would record, or we would design the test steps in on one device, but we should be able to execute it on multiple devices. So it can be like you can have you can spend time on saying that customizing or making your scripts compatible with all number of devices. You can spend that time, but it cannot be like you have to go and record it on or design steps for each and every device that is compatible. So that's where the requirement or the need for building a device agnostic mobile test automation framework comes into. So just for the people who are new to mobile testing, to just give a brief background, there are three types of apps that can be built on a mobile. One is native apps, web apps, and then hybrid apps. So native apps are basically the ones that are built on the native programming language and can be installed on your actual device, and they have the capabilities to access your native device features. Like you want to access a camera or your volume controls, all the native device features are accessed over these native applications. So and the other ones are web applications. These web applications are just like browsing an application, browsing a website from your desktop, but instead of from a desktop, you would be using it from a mobile. So any website that is that you are able to browse it on your mobile is a web app. It's like basically a mobile version of the actual web application. So compared to native app, these web apps are really difficult in or involves more complexity and automation. Why? Because these native apps are fast, they run on the local devices, but whereas web apps, they use these HTML5s, and they are built on they like the web apps are accessed over multiple networks. You can be on a Wi-Fi or a 2G or a 3G network, and based on your network carrier, your network speeds may vary, and your application, the servers that are hosting your web applications may vary. So depending on all these things, your automation script has to be very robust enough that they should be handling all these synchronization between all these components. That's what the challenge that comes with automating the mobile web applications compared to the native applications. And the third one is like hybrid apps, which has basically native apps are built a combination of both web apps and hybrid apps. These apps basically use the native device features. Apart from that, they are also use the native browser's engine. It will not use the browser on your device, but the browser's engine to render all this HTML code. So, so if you see this characteristics of different mobile applications that we are seeing. So here the challenges compared to web automation. So I assume that most of the people have been working in automation and they are very well versed with web automation, web applications automation. So in a web automation, mostly we would mostly we would take into consideration the combinations of different browsers that are available and different operating systems that are involved. But when it comes to mobile automation, it is more like you have to take the different types of applications that are in scope, and then you have to take into consideration the different factors like how your automation suite would handle when your hardware or your native device is being rotated. When the screen on your hardware rotates, how does your scripts handle? When you do a swipe operation, how does your scripts handle? Similarly, when you are playing your web app, assume that you are playing your temple run and somebody calls you. So how would your automation scripts would be able to handle those notifications? So all these complexities are involved in mobile automation, and you should have a very robust and agnostic automation framework so that it handles all these cases for you. So the slide what you are seeing is basically a representation of different application features and what each native and web and hybrid applications can see. Like basically just to broadly categorize, the native applications uses your mobile device's graphics. So the high-end the phone, the rich the graphics are. So when it comes to web apps, they basically use the HTML, and they are more customized by your developers to make sure that your user experience accessing the web is similar across multiple devices. So they are a bit low in graphics and quality. Similarly, the native apps can access your local camera features and the notifications and calendar and the contacts in your phone, whereas in your web applications cannot do it. But being a hybrid, it can do both of them. So it's basically like broadly we classify native applications are very rich in user experience, whereas hybrid applications are low in bit of user experience because they are optimized to be to have similar experience on multiple devices. So I hope till now it's all clear. So I'm jumping into the actual automation solutions that are available in the market for mobile automation. So the different mobile automation solutions that are available in the market currently for us are basically based on these technologies. One are image-based recognition, and the other one is OCR-based identification, which is optical character recognition methodology, and the others are native object identification. So in image-based recognition, what the tools allow you to do is like basically you capture the image of the object, and then you prepare a repository of all these images. And when you play back your automation suite, this repository, the repository of images are compared against the runtime image and then matched and then perform the action on. When you say the object OCR-based object character recognition-based tools, what they do is like you select the object and the area of the object, capture an image. So from that object and the image, you will be able to read the characters on it. Something like if you have a S button, you capture the image of that yes button, and actually what it does is like it reads the yes text from that image and compares that text at the runtime. So basically object OCR based solutions are a bit slow in execution. Why? Because of they have to capture the image, compare the image, and then read the text and then perform the action. And the other types are native object-based tools, which basically identify your objects based on the properties. So to allow you to do this, they have to the tools has to have access to the native APIs of the device. So here, if we see, basically there are two ways in which the tools can access the objects of your applications, mobile applications on the device. So generally the devices what we use are they are touch based. We touch them and we swipe them and we pinch and spread them. But how does your tool being allowed to access your mobile application? How is it being allowed to capture the images? So basically there are two ways. They are like jailbroken and non-jailbroken. So when you do when you jailbreak your device, after you jailbreak it, then the tools, whatever the tools, will be able to access your mobile applications and perform the actions. If not, if you don't want to jailbreak, if you want to work on non-jailbroken devices, it's basically like each tool would be providing a small code snippet or a small app that should be deployed onto your device, and that would be executing in the background. And whenever this tool tries to perform an action, that code snippet gets access, gets ready, and that would actually like sends back the messages that are being performed onto the tool. So these are basically the different types of automation solutions that are available. And the next slide, yeah, this slide, if you could see it. So these are the different tools that are available in the market for us, which are based on the solutions what we have seen earlier. So these are broadly, like, we have experience working with all these tools. I've mostly worked with most of these tools. So if we have to categorize these tools, like Experitest is one of the tools which actually like has the capability to read it based on your image or OCR or native objects. So it's basically it depends on the situation and the need you have. Based on that, you would be choosing the tool what you wanted. So something like if you want your automation tool to be executed in multiple environments, like you have your iOS and Android device to be tested, but the automation tool and where you are executing the automation suite has to be on a Mac and has to be on a Linux and a Windows, then you go for something like an eggplant tool. And if you want to have a cloud-based solution, so just like you have all your devices in a cloud and you want to connect to the devices, you perform all your testing there and get back. So such type of solutions are provided by Perfecto Mobile and Keynote device. And there are some other open source tools based on like these open source automation tools like Sequoia or PhoneMonkey. They give a decent coverage, but there are some compromises. So it depends purely on what the need is and what do you want to do. You pick up the right tool. So here I would just like to show automating a sample scenario. How would you do automation of a sample scenario? For this demo purpose, we have taken CTest as the tool, which is from Experitest, and we are automating a sample scenario. So here, any tool, any automation tool would allow you to first connect your device. So there are two ways you can do the testing actually for mobile automation. It's basically you can do it, you can perform your automated testing on a real device, or you can perform it on a simulator. So when I say this, I just wanted to recollect one of my experiences. One of our clientele who is in a payment gateway industry. So what their app allows you to do is like it's basically you visit a restaurant and you have to pay a bill. Nowadays it's no more a credit card bill, you pay it through your mobiles. So it's just like you add the merchant and just pay it from your mobile. You provide the credit card details and you pay it from your mobile and they are credited into the merchant's account details. So that's how this app works. So we posted while testing, we posted a critical defect, and the next day itself it was closed, saying that it was not reproducible. So again we retested it and found to be same. So there was some discussions happening, like between the developers and the testers. There was discussion like, yes, it's not reproducible, and we are, yes, it's reproducible. After a lot of analysis we found out that actually the developer was trying to reproduce the defect on a simulator on his dev environment. He was using a simulator where generally, because they develop on one platform, they don't check it for multiple compatible devices. So actually they were doing it on a simulator, and the device was the defect was not being seen on the simulator. Whereas when we retested it on the device, and when the developer himself retested on the device, he could see that it's getting reproduced. So just wanted to emphasize the difference between testing on a real device and a simulator. So it's always like when we do mobile testing, we would better to do it on a real device, because like it would actually be a combination of your software and your hardware. The software runs on a piece of hardware accessing your native hardware device resources. So when you run a simulator, it's basically the platform on which it is running is a different thing. Your desktop or your system platform and the operating systems are completely different from your native real devices platform. So that's where the difference is. So this tool allows you to connect your mobile device. You could perform all your testing on a real device. So you connect this device using a Wi-Fi or a USB port. You can connect it, and then basically you select the type of device you are selecting and load it. So once you load it, what you do is like you can see that whatever there is an emulator that comes up once you connect your device, and you can see clearly that is an emulator, not a simulator. So whatever you perform or whatever you do on the device are reflected on the emulator, and similarly if you do something on an emulator, it is exactly reflected on your real device. So once you have your device connected, a connection between the device and your testing automation tool established, you would basically launch your app and create a repository of all your objects. So you capture all the images what you wanted to perform action on, create a collection of all the images, and then record all your test steps that you want to record. So basically once you build the repository, you record all the test steps that you want to build. So once you record it, there are all sequence of test steps. So you have to make them more reliable, what you have to do is like you have to enhance your script by inserting proper synchronization steps like wait for commands, and similarly enhancing your verification point, like check if this text is available, if this image is appeared or not. Similarly, wait for this image. So you could see the screenshot, I hope. So this is how we enhance this screenshot, the recorded script, and then we execute it. So after enhancing it, putting all your verification and synchronization steps, go ahead and execute. And specifically, any tool gives you a detailed HTML report which has a description of each command that has been executed and the screenshots of all the commands that are executed. That's what the tools give. And I hope like everybody understood how we would basically work with these kind of automation tools. So here are a few best practices that we should follow while automating this. So basically, you always try to have only one device open. Don't try to have multiple devices, and also have the recording short, not like very lengthy. It should ideal to be between 10 to 15 steps, and plan your flow before you start recording, and create all the collection of images that you want to create, and then do the recording and execution. So here I would like to show whatever I've been explaining you. I would like to show you a live demonstration of it. So I would like to show you how we would really load a file and how it would enhance the script. So if you could see here, I am just loading I'm connecting a real device. I've given a name. So once you connect your device, you could see the status is changed from ready to open. So once the device is added, this is the emulator what you're saying, and beside you could see the actual phone. Whatever you perform on the device, you could actually see it on the phone also that they are performing, and it's actually an emulator, and it's like accessing your real device. So if you could see here, I've opened one small sample app, and I'm trying to create an object repository, a collection of images. So I'm capturing this yes image, yes as an object, create that image and put it into. So you can also have, there are different types of methods. You can also have the text to be used for replaying back. So if you see here on the left hand side, you are adding all your objects. This is how you create your object repository. Then you record your actual test steps. So now I'm trying to record the actual sequence of test steps that I wanted to perform on this app. So just wanted to show how we would record. So this is how the scripts would get recorded. Once these are recorded, then you have to enhance it by adding proper synchronization steps. And so here I'm adding a synchronization step saying like wait for this element and then perform the next action. So here I'm saying wait for yes object to appear, and then similarly I'm saying like check if this yes image, yes text is found or not. So this is how we basically enhance our scripts. Once that is done, so this is just I wanted to show a live execution how we would do it. This is a recorded script, and now I'm executing it. If you could, I hope everybody is seeing. So when I record it, you could see the actual test script being replayed on the actual devices beside your on the screen. So whatever you are seeing, the script is replaying back the same things on your emulator on your device. So this is how you could see. So the actual steps that are getting executed in the tool are being seen on the emulator, and the same steps are being performed on the device. So this is basically like all your whatever you are executing is basically on a real device, and it's accessing the device native device features. So said this is how this C-test or basically any mobile automation test tools work. So but now we have recorded a script, we have completed one script, executed it, but how would we make it portable, compatible and portable to multiple devices? So we cannot go and if we have some 10-20 device combinations we have to execute, and some 20 combinations of OS versions we have to execute our scripts. It is not that you can go and record each same test case on each of these devices and execute. So you have to build a framework around it, saying like how you would be like I've recorded it in one device, and now I wanted to execute it on any of the devices which I want to choose. So most of the mobile automation testing tools will allow you to integrate with functional integration tools functional test automation tools. So what they allowed is like the SIG test would allow you to integrate your whatever code or C test engine with the functional testing tools like QTP, or you can integrate with the TestNG framework, and you can build Java code to actually do your mobile testing. It can integrate with Test Complete. So you can basically take your mobile test automation engines that performs the actions and put it into your functional automation approach and build a framework around it. So this framework is basically like building a framework. Why it's important is like you have your automation suite has to be portable, it has to be reusable, and it has to be highly maintainable. You should have very less maintenance efforts to make it compatible across multiple devices. So this is the tool agnostic mobile test automation framework what we have built. This representative design, and the architecture is basically like you have configurations files wherein you go and say like I've executed my scripts on I've designed my scripts, now I'm executed on an iPhone, now I want to execute it on an Android phone. You just go to one of the configuration files and say like instead of iPhone it is Android, and the script should be compatible enough to pick up that and execute it on the device or the platform which you have configured. Similarly, like the framework should be robust enough to read data from multiple data sources. Like when you do, so when you have hundreds of scenarios that you want to execute, and hundreds of devices that are being tested in different number of cases, so the test data keeps on changing, right? So the framework should be capable enough to read data from external sources. It may be an Excel or a CSV or a database or a flat file, anything, but the framework should be capable enough to have the capabilities to read it from these multiple sources. So similarly, like we can do custom reporting, we can generate multiple formats of test results. You can generate your reports in click here, sorry, you can read it from, you can generate reports in a HTML format or in Excel format, or you can put your results, some of the results are like we put it into a database basically to verify that what test cases passed in earlier versions and what test cases passed in the latest release. So we maintain a history of your results, so we maintain the results in the database. So all these capabilities should be embedded into your framework, which basically allows you to provide a cross compatibility across devices. So so we have built we have integrated this expiry test engine with a TestNG framework into a Eclipse IDE, and we have developed a framework. What I've been showing you, the design of the framework, we have developed all the different components that are required. So this is how we make the scripts portable onto multiple devices. So we maintain a configuration file.
There's no sound coming from your end, Kote. Can you please check your network connections?
um, when you see the same app and the same object in an iPhone, it may be in a different color. So what you have to do is like we will maintain our repository and a collection of images, something like you point that this image, something like your yes button in an iPhone it's in a red color, and you have to use this image when the configuration says like it is an iPhone, and say like when it is an Android, this is the image that you have to use, which is in green color. So that background intelligence is embedded into your automation framework, that it allows you to say like if it's an iPhone in the configuration file, I'll go and pick up this image, and if it is an Android, I'll go and pick up this green image. So that's how you make your object collection of your object repositories and the collection of your images, so that the scripts are portable onto multiple devices. So similarly, from a maintenance point of view, we would recommend that all our object collections, what I was saying, you maintain in different folders and have it at a single location, so that if there is a change in the image or change in the property, you can just go and change it at one location, which allows you to get a single point maintenance. And most of the mobile test automation tools, what they allow you to do is like they allow you to specify a tolerance limit or a sensitivity limit, saying like, see, like when you have multiple devices of same Android flavor and version, so there may be slight variations, which really the object looks the same, but because of the screen resolution, screen sizes, or the device platforms, there may be slight variations, which may not really create another or add another image into the collection. So where you can set these tolerance limits, so that the tool automatically compares that at runtime and allows and makes your script compatible. There are also like challenges when you do like an iPhone and iPad, which is like very huge, very big. The screen sizes are very big. So most of the tools, what they allow you to do is like they give an option called auto scaling. So what they allow you to do is like it's the same app and it renders the same, but it's in a different scale. So when you set these auto scale options to true, what it does is like it goes and compares the images on different bigger devices, a bigger scale on it which is deployed, irrespective of the image what is there in the object repository. And similarly, to make your maintenance easy, as I said, like we have to have our framework robust enough to read data from multiple data sources. So this screenshot shows like it's basically, this is an example where we are reading data from an Excel sheet. So we can make our framework to read data from multiple data sources like a database or a flat file or a CSV file. This allows you to maintain your script very easily and reduces your maintenance efforts after your automation suite is developed. So this is basically a modular and a layered approach. What do you mean by layered approach is basically like you have you divide all your different all your functionalities into multiple layers, something like all your GUI actions on you that has to be performed, something like you want to swipe, you want to pinch or you want to spread something, all these generic actions that you can think of and you can provide on or you can perform on your mobile app, make them or put it into a single library file and make them independent of your business logic, so that these can be reusable across multiple projects and multiple applications. Similarly, you have something like if you are accessing or you're testing some hybrid applications, there may be scenarios where you have to check the values in the database, how they are stored. So all the actions, all the connection objects, or all the data retrieving logic of your database should be in a separate library, and there should not be any interdependency of your GUI library on the database library or on the database library on your business library, so that all these would be independent, and if you want to reuse them in a different project or a different app, it would be just like you can just put them ready and you can just start working on the next project. You need not remove all the business logic again, clean them up and use them. So that's how we achieve reusability. So hope I'm clear. So this is how we generate customized test reports. So which is basically like this is in a HTML format. We can generate reports in Excel or CSVs. For this demonstration, I'm showing it in an Excel format. So this is a summary report where it shows like the different test scenarios, what you have executed and what passed and what failed and what environment, like the device on which you executed, what is the operating system version you have executed. So all that can be put it as a given as a summary report, and then you can provide a detailed report where you can see like each test step, what happened, what are the different test steps that are performed in a test case, and where actually like which test step has failed and why it has failed. See, if you could see one of the steps says like there is an invalid credit card number and that's why the test step failed, and we can even attach screenshots and link back to this failed scenario so that there can be a hyperlink. When you click on this failed link, it can show the actual result or actual screenshot where it has failed. So that's how we can build the customized reports. So this is broadly our theoretical representation of our framework. I would like to show a video demo of how the same thing what we have seen would work with a framework. So, yeah, and after this we will take up the questions. So here, if you could see, this is the TestNG framework which we have built on the same expiry test engine, and if you could see the same scenario what we have seen earlier using a sequence of recorded steps, now it is like from a framework, a device agnostic framework, and the same script is being executed, and you could see that the script is getting executed on the real device and on the emulator. So this is a sample scenario for one of our one of the demo apps what we have demonstrated. So if you see here, we are sending an email, and here we could even access our native email configuration in your mobile, open them up, check the attachments that are coming to you. So all this can be verified and scripted in the TestNG format, which allows your automation suite to be portable, reusable, maintainable for different versions. So if you could say after the execution, you generate a report something like this. So this is an HTML report where you would have the summary of all your environments, the mobile versions, the OS, and the device you worked on, and then you get a detailed step of all the test steps that are involved in your test script. So this is broadly about the how we would build a device agnostic framework and how we would bring it live and make it use. I hope like everyone had a good learning. I hope you had understood why we need to build a device agnostic tool framework given the multiple or given the thousands of apps that are being coming into the market on a day-to-day basis, and the different devices that are coming up into the market and the different flavors of operating systems.
Yeah, I think we could just break for some questions. So we are ready to take any questions. I hope it was a good experience so far. Let's see what else is. Yeah. Okay. So let me try to read the question out, and then there's a question: what tools could be used for UI testing on Windows 8 Metro apps by Nikhil Ketkar? Koti, would you like to comment on that one?
Automated UI testing
Windows 8 Metro apps.
So any of these image-based recognition tools would be able to work. So it's basically you capture the images and work. So you can work with C-test, which is basically from expiry test, or you can use eggplant.
So basically what you're saying is your recommendation could be this object character recognition based tools like expiry test and eggplant could potentially be used for testing Windows 8, right? So with that, next move to the next one by Srinijoy Das. He's basically asking to give little bit more explanation on native object identification.
Okay, so
that's a very good question, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. So the native object identification is basically like the operating system should allow you to access your native APIs of the device. So all the operating systems will not allow you to do it. So the Android devices have a concept called instrumentation. So once you instrument your device with the instrumentation is basically a APK given by the tool. You have to deploy it onto your device and rebuild your app. So what it allows you is like it builds a bridge between your testing tool and your app that is running. So it will allow you to recognize your objects based on the properties, something like there is the yes button what we are seeing. So it allows you to say like this, there is an object called button. This class is button and its ID is some txt button and its text reads as yes. So it's just like how you would do automation for your web or desktop applications.
Right. I think that was a very detailed answer. I suppose it was clear. What if we could have two similar images? Should we be adding additional properties in the image-based object identification? That's a question from Abhilash Surapanini.
Actually, like that's a good question. So we can add additional properties like the location of the image and where you are seeing it. Based on that, maybe we can recognize the different same images, same type of images. And we also can use the OCR technology on top of it to recognize it.
Nice. So would you want to answer this one? What is the difference between emulator and a simulator? That's coming from Mr. Hari.
Sure, sure. So basically the emulator and simulator, what I was, I think like I've covered it in the session earlier, but I would like to elaborate it again. So simulator is basically only the software. It doesn't work, it doesn't interact with your hardware device as such. It is the software which reflects how your mobile phone would look like.
Yeah. Considering the fact that the audience, I'm sure, can figure out the difference, let's pick up another technically deeper question. So which scripting language would you use to record these steps? I think that's
Basically, whatever the tool has its specific language. Like expiry test uses its own language, which pretty much like English.
Right.
And if it is an eggplant, it uses something called sensetalk,
right.
which is its own language.
Right.
But if you have to integrate with any of the functional frameworks, you can use VB scripting, or you can use Java scripting, or you can use core Java.
Right.
Develop your script.
I think there's a very interesting question from Karthikeyan Ravichandran, though he isn't here now. Would there be any dependency in using your emulator in a localized operating systems like a Japanese OS?
Okay, that's an interesting question. No, there shouldn't be any because it is basically when you use your image recognition technology, it is basically like you capture the image and compare that image with the same thing at runtime. So there shouldn't be any.
Wonderful. So and I think this is something which we were discussing. The normal UI tools take care of the correlation pretty well. But how do the mobile automation would do them so? Are they automatic or manual? This is a question from Mr. Ashwini Kumar. Correlation. Okay, so what he's saying straight is how do the mobile automation tools in general work with the correlation stuff? Okay, what we could do is probably this one we could write a detailed email back. We would appreciate the question. Let's move on to the next one. So the remote tools that we're performing for testing like Perfecto Mobile, how effective is testing the devices in the cloud? What he is trying to ask is the testing actually constitutes testing on the actual physical devices, or do companies only use emulators?
So
this is from Raja Jeevan Kumar and Madhuri.
Yeah. So basically, like the cloud solutions are basically like they have the real devices hosted in the cloud, and we connect it from our local device to that cloud. It's like you use the real devices; they are not simulators, and the emulator, instead of just connecting it to your physical machine directly at your location, you are connecting it into a cloud and performing actions on a real device. It's not a simulator.
Okay, so I think one of the question is, I'll club these ones. The tool that is taking the XY coordinates of the application, in case if the location of the button has changed, how do you manage such cases? That is from Manish Birataria. And Nitesh Agarwal asks how to deal with interrupt scenarios like a call or an SMS.
So basically, we'll not only based on the XY coordinates. So in such scenarios, what we will do is like, first of all, what the tools does is like they don't take the XY coordinates of the device or the screen. It basically tries to compare the image anywhere. If the image is moved from one location to another location also, they'll be able to figure out which image it is and compare it. It's like it uses the text and the image to compare at runtime. They work. They'll not be like if the image is moved from one location to another location, they'll fail. No, they'll work.
Okay. And do you have any idea? I mean, should we comment about how do we interrupt scenarios like a call or an SMS?
It's basically as an automation tool, like we will be able to handle it when we automate it. It's not specifically they didn't need to specific to audio. Will not be able to do anything.
Right.
But from a UI point of view.
Wonderful. So let's now see if we'll take this one. Will Selenium support native objects? That's a question from Prasad Gali.
So yes, Selenium supports automating mobile devices, but it supports only automating web-based web apps. It's not the native apps; it's the web apps. Any app or any URL that you access from your mobile browser on your device, Selenium would be able to automate. Here, Selenium uses a DOM object model and recognizes the paths of the objects in your web browser and performs the action. It cannot access the native applications.
Right. So I think let me take this question for the paucity of time, considering some of the aspects we covered. Android and iOS have different levels of instrumentation. How would we write device agnostic tests? We do not want to go for image-based script development. That's a question coming from Ravi Kumar Devatagal.
So basically, the simplest solution would be to have a jailbroken device. That's one way we can do it. Otherwise, what we can do is like you can have the tools. What they are performing nowadays is like something like if you have an eggplant tool, what it does is like it gives something called an Egon server, which you have to install it on your mobile device, and irrespective of whatever it's an Android or an iOS, it'll run in the background, and you will be able to capture the images and perform the actions.
Wonderful.
And if your question is basically about if the image in Android is in a red color and if in the image in an iOS is in a green color, how would you manage it? It's basically you can create an image collection. You can create it's a concept called overloading, where you will have your collection of images assigned to one test step, and at runtime you can say like this is an Android from your configuration, and the tool will be able to pick up that image.
Nice. I think this was actually a very good question considering the theme of our presentation. So let's make this in the last one. This is from Kumar Arnesh. Can we write a script in English and could I run the same scripts on the international languages like Japanese or German? Would it work directly? That's the question. Internet.
How do you write it in? Okay. Here also we should be able to use something like the overloading concept. So you create a collection of all the images of different languages and you place them into your object repository, and then whatever language you selected, you should be able to.
Wonderful. So I think that has been, I must say, a very enriching audience with the deep, intense questions, and we have loved enjoying answering them. We could stay connected post this webinar through our emails, and we would welcome more comments and questions. With that said, on behalf of Cigniiti, I must say we had an exciting time in this webinar today. We can still take any other question that we have, otherwise we're done for today. And we would be welcoming all of you again to our upcoming webinar on application and mobile device security by our another Senior Delivery Manager Chakri on the 19th of September. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the presentation, Mr. Kote. I'm really thankful to Mr. Sairam as well for being the moderator for today's webinar. Thank you so much for answering the questions as well. I would also,
on behalf of Cigniiti, yeah, we thank the TechGig platform also for having arranged this one. Thank you.
I would also like to thank all our participants for the support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the session would be available on techgig.com by evening. Thank you all. Have a great day.